Hello, everyone. This picture, based on copyright issues, had to be censored by my mug. So, sorry. No, I'm joking. No, it's our homeboys. Anyways, um, I wanted to talk about the ideas of what it means to be spiritual and how that word is being used. These are my viewpoints on what spiritual means. I think it's a good. I think this video is an interesting video. And anyways, you see, if you're curious what it means to me, it's very hard to communicate it. But if you want to know what it generally means to people and how they're utilizing it, then that's actually I guess I could do that. I can. That's communicatable, more communicatable. So what does this mean? I will just tell you what I feel needs to be said right now, and based on that, take away whatever you can from it. The word spiritual it doesn't have meaning for some people after some point where it has meaning, and then it just becomes an unknown opening. You need to understand this. It is not that it's just there's more form. It becomes very beautiful, similar to if we had a chaotic scattering of stars. It's as beautiful as that type of chaotic. But so there's a certain level of it where it can't be communicated, and it shouldn't. A lot of people have known that like 1,000 years ago. And in Western culture, the word spirituality is it's very defined. It's not defined. It's not definable. That's why it's not shared a lot because it creates confusion. Spirituality is not something you should go for because you don't want to create, you don't want another story. It is the breaking of stories. It is the getting rid of the stories. Do not try to understand spirituality the same way you feel you're receiving a story. Because if you do it in that way, you would be confused with the story in which you think your life is. And it is not a bad thing to be confused like that, actually. I guess it has some benefit in that way. But there's also a general moment that may come in anyone's life where they literally look at existence and what is there, such as their um, such as their friends, whatever condition, circumstance, or structure that is surrounding them. They will see that, and there will be some space at some, whether it's a near-death experience, whether it's a huge bad breakup, or something that is making you feel very disharmonious. It's taking you to the breaking point. When one of those comes in your life, it is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing to have problems. Sometimes the problems are trying to break the walls are actually giving you the problem. So, when you hear the word spirituality, understand that it's not something to just Google. However, even though understanding all of philosophies that are considered spiritual does lead to a deeper view of your own search, or of how you're searching, and does raise your awareness, but we want to go to the point where it's full freeness. Not dumb, not freedom or domination, not freedom only in a dominated way, but freeness. It is just there. It's freeness. Anyways, I feel really hilarious joke could have been made right now, but we're going to continue on. So spirituality is something to really look at, just like how you would look at a mirror. It is not here to tell you something. The mirror doesn't give a shit. The mirror just is like, this is it, buddy. This is you. This is how you look like. That's the mirror. And so spirituality is a mirror you're going and seeking. It is something in that it reflects all that you need to work with. Simply, it's where language cannot build a wall anymore. Spirituality is the last word for it. And when you look for that word, you realize it was never the word in the first place. That kind of realization. Now, there is, however, the notion that there is practice. There is something called, spiritual practice. Some people call it prayer in other countries. Some people call it meditation. Others call it dancing. Some people call it like exotic creativity that is taking you to the breaking point of mankind. It can be called many, many things. But practices are simply actions. You need to understand. You know how you read a book to search for a deeper idea? Similarly, the search for spirituality for those who practice is a mindset that is saying that they need to move their body. Literally stop thinking and start moving their body to see what else they're made of, how deeper this consciousness may flow. That is it, and it is a very wise thing. And it's for people who are intelligent, who don't believe or understand spirituality. For the word, it's similar to like this condition where there's a person who wants to share the answers to the homework of whatever problems we're given, or whatever humanity is, whatever condition humanity is in. And at that time, while he wants to give it, similar to all the primary school movie scenes I saw in my cartoons as a kid, there would be this other kid who would be like, hey, stop fucking talking, man. Fuck you. Like, he'd be the bully, right? He would limit the voice of wisdom and greater success or efficiency to come for the human being. So people who are intelligent, or let's say people who are intellectual, who they have read a lot, they are not new to ideas. They understand ideas and their deeper amplifications. Do not separate yourself. It's like your back is at a wall, and every time you have to move to see the wall, And when you move, you think it's separate, but it's not. When your back's to it, it's all good. Spiritual people are the ones like, all right, our back's there, right? But intellectual people are like, no, you see when I spin, when I try to see it, it's the wall. That's the wall. It's separation. I mean, logically, if their back is to a wall and they move, they're no longer in that same state of mind. They cannot see what is existing. What other pathway of existence there is in regards to understanding this form, this human form. So practice is mainly for expanding awareness beyond thought. You're done looking for ideas, thinking about questions. You want to see what it's about. There, you go into a practice. You do not need to be locked in this chain of like, buddy, this is crazy, but my hands in these, my hands as metaphors for the good and the bad angel, or whichever shoulder they like to sit at. I create these senses of duality and the sense of separatism between a good being and a bad being, and sin comes into play. I create these with my hands. However, at the same time, ideas are literally like two earmuffs that are actually coming from the same com- company or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not that you need to think you're not at peace and then fight for peace. That is we don't want to create any sense of ignorance at all here. This is just idea sharing, and it's actually very collaborative. And let me tell you why. Because if I was to create something, if I was to this, record just this video and only see it myself and nobody else seeing it, when others see it, that is what I have created advancing into the mind of another person. When that happens, it is a very amazing notion in which the artist wants to just give his artwork away and see how it will be made continuously again, how it will be interacted with other forms of energy and attention. It's a very interesting thing. However, my artwork follows a different method of making, which is not very commonly utilized. But that's for another recording. Anyways, that is such an unnecessary sound to hear in your day. It's just so unnecessary to hear that, and it's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure I could get better ice cream at the gas station than some random fucking truck filled with ice cream that's probably melting. What technology are they using to keep the ice cream cold? You know what I mean? Or I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a different. I feel like it's communicating with me. Bye, noise. Bye. Anyways, whatever. I'm going to take this to how practical it could be and how you need to analyze meditation and how it handles noise. Right when I said that, it stopped. That was totally unplanned, by the way. Anyways, look at your day, see how energized you are, see how much you want to spend time for yourself. Spending time for yourself, not others. When it's not it's just like eating, okay? So when you look at the energy levels and you literally feel tired, whatever, you're pissed off at someone, or you have ideas that are bothering you, like your friend like got drunk and like told you they like you, um, or any other scenario that is relevant to that range of awareness in asking that question with that intoxication. But your energy levels show you how much you can even be alive enough to explore or want to know what spirituality means. Your energy levels are one of the most basic things where you need to really take care of yourself and create an efficient body. The only way you can have an efficient human being is if all the parts are working fine. So we need to have a very healthy body, and it's not an easy task. At times there are many, society is like at the same time the playground that is just a whole, that's one idea of culture more than anything, or what culture is seen to be. But it's you can communicate much more healthier with everything that is existent as you are by having a healthier body. So in other words, accept that this is your first house. This body is your first house. I mean, you don't need to know. You might not know who's living in it. You might, am I a soul? Am I a spirit? Am I a gleam in my eye or something? That no. This is your first house. This is a house which you don't need to buy anymore. You have full control over. This is your house. You could do anything. Take care of your body. Go exercise. You know, don't just keep your attention isolated to the computer screen or you know, your phones or news or whatever, right? Understand that there are deeper sense. There are other experiences, existent experiences you can have of your own existence that are different than the ideas you're following. You can travel. I highly advise traveling for any human being. Just as a human being, you'll understand that. You'll understand. The more different types of human beings you understand, the more of a human being you become. You know, I'm saying this very gracefully at the same time. So take care of your body. Now, there comes the point where you need to really analyze your food as well, and you need to see why you should. Why are you eating? Have you ever asked that? Why is a system am I eating, right? And the answer is, you know, I want to live. Are you crazy? It's totally fine, but you need to understand that for some people who are much more exploring, or actually exploring now, much more, I guess, excited to see what else there is. These guys are not satisfied by that answer. When you say, what? So I just have to eat other forms of matter to be matter. You know, I have to eat other things of other matter to matter. That's a very beautiful bridge. Anyways, you need to look at your food. You need to look at culture and society and see what it really has to offer you. Okay, I'm not talking about shoes. I'm just saying, like, why are we buying energy drinks? Why am I buying a Coke? Why is there a McDonald's here serving food that is not food? It's a very, so those ideas alarm me slightly, but at the same time means that we could do something about it. You know, it's a problem. As a problem solver, you're like, okay, I like big problems. You know, so you go through that avenue, and you really see that to maintain this body, you really need to really read a bit and try to understand the sciences that are for your body, the sciences they're saying, and then see your own unique physicality and physical capability, and try to then, in some form, ascertain how you need to maintain yourself, your physicality properly. For example, for me, it's meat became heavy after some point. It was something unnecessary to eat. You know, I don't eat chips. I don't need to eat meat. You know, it's just like similar to that. Even though the contents vary and some people need it and some people have culturally been introduced to just eating another animal that's alive. You know, even though, for example, my childhood was literally butchered because there was so many times that my mother would make that kind of food, and it's not that it's wrong. You know, it's not that, because it is a material relationship at the same time, so it's a mental relationship. That's why it bothers you, but at the same time, you need to see its value, and that requires a lot of reading. And why even meditate? Why why like be a vegan? Why is that even an option? Where did that idea come from? These are things that when you ask, they always point to the answer. Anyways, so stay healthy. Spirituality is a multi-dimensional, if you want to use that word, terrain, and you need to understand that language is limited to one of the dimensions, to this wavelength of energy. And there are other forms of communication you can have as a point of existence with yourself. Hopefully this helped, and you realize that you really know all the answers you really feel you should know, because you're the one who only has that question. You are defining the answer, and the answer is everything else that's pointing to the question. You know, it's as if when someone has a question and you ask something, all that, everything else is part of that answer. It's as if, like, if I drew a circle, right, and questioned what's outside the circle, it'll always be everything that I'm seeing. It will be, you create the question in which there may be this kind of relationship. But when you see that there is no need to be circled around, it is then that you just feel free. But in a sense, not limited to just that. So a lot of people, if you're seeing any, that's for the, if you're seeing anyone like this, they either have the awareness that they are not even the line, they are this, right? However, a lot of yogis, Buddha followers, and becomers, and any other type of person who forms a spiritual practice, they know that they're this line, and they're trying to go into and realize that when you go inside, that's all you need to know to know that you are the whole page. When you're looking outside, it's a much bigger page, you know, because the more your question would be, you know, they're more surface. So spirituality does not need to be limited to these two different types of cultural exposés. You know, it's be aware why you're here. Be aware of this circle. Be aware of why you exist, and then, based on which way you look into, you'll always be in a lighter side, you know. And you know, there's a sense of freedom that was never questionable, and that is, you know, my this moment understanding of what I need to tell you about spirituality, or even why that's a question, perhaps for anyone. Even, you know, it's questions come and go. They're like buddies, you know. It's like, why am I friends with this guy? But whatever. Similar like that, you know. But you're still friends because it's your close friend. You know them as a human being. You know, you've observed life with them. You know, so based on that, be comfortable, and all that is written is also unwritten.